Doing all right. How you doing?
Doing good, doing good. And hey, I've got talking points.
Yeah, you got some talking points.
Yeah,
here,
some feeling good. So let's just jump right into it about the importance of meal planning and prep.
Meal planning and prep. Yeah. So, basically people come around and they talk about like how hard the getting their food is, but they don't have anything prepared. They don't have anything planned for it, and so they end up getting fast food or making poor choices in that cycle of just continuing to eat bad stuff. Because if you don't plan and prepare for stuff, you can't expect any kind of success, right? So that just doesn't bode too well for the old fitness and nutrition thing. If you don't have anything in your house ready to go, you're at an obvious disadvantage. So when you look at that stuff, you've got to prepare your meals, you've got to plan them in advance, and you've got to make it a dedicated thing. And so if you don't do that, then you get what you get. And failure to plan is basically planning to fail. Right? That's the old saying. And you don't want to just not have food, not have anything ready, be starving, and just scrounge around and grab the first thing you come across. So meal planning. You want to make out your meal plan for the entire week, however many meals a day you're going to eat, and then you want to actually make your grocery list off of that. Go buy your food, prepare it in bulk, right? Mm-hmm. And then divvy up all of those meals into like Tupperware or some type of container, and then store them in your fridge. And so all that stuff is ready, and when you get hungry, there's no thinking about it. You don't have to look for junk food or grab a bag of chips or something. All you do is go in your fridge and grab a meal that's already ready, and the most you'll have to do is heat it up. So meal planning is super important. Preparing it in advance, cooking in bulk, like an entire bag of chicken breasts, an entire carton of eggs, cooking it all up, and so you've got quantities. And then, whatever type of vegetables, whatever types of fruit, whatever types of lean proteins and good fats. Have it all divvied up based on your requirements. Put it in some type of containers, have an organized plan. It should be part of your schedule, part of your weekly routine. And if it's not, basically don't whine and complain about, not losing weight or getting in shape. Because if you skip your meals and you go get junk food, or you go, just don't eat at all because you're busy, you're gonna pay a price with your physique, with your health, and with your fitness level. So prepare your meals in advance, get them all ready to go. Have a grocery list based on your meal plan. Prepare your food once you get it. And if you can follow that basic sequence of make the plan, make the grocery list off the plan, go get it, and then prepare it and have it, and then it'll be all set. And for as many days out as you can. If you can do a whole week, that's great. At least try to get a day or two in advance. And that way, you'll never be running around looking for junk food, grabbing chips and cookies, and making those bad decisions when all that food is prepared for you right there. So that's the deal. Do it. Like Yoda says, try not, do or do not. There is no try. Right? So you either do it and start getting in really good shape, start making progress, or whatever.
Go Yoda.
Yeah.
Yes, all right. And go Apple for just explaining to me on my iPhone how, have you ever done this? When I actually deleted my email icon. I didn't know you could do that.
That is special talent. Okay. Special talent.
But for those of you who've ever done that or have ever had that problem, all you got to do is go to your App Store, type in Mail, M-A-I-L. It's going to be exactly that. And then you can re-download, but then you have to redo your accounts again. But let's go to number 2, developing a home gym on a budget. That's me. I have a home gym on a budget. He's provided it. Mine's more like a mini home gym.
Yeah. And that's really all you need. So the home gym thing, a lot of people ask me to help them set up their home gyms and develop their home gyms. And so home gym on a budget, a lot of people are like, I don't have $120 to spend on a kettlebell or $100 for a BOSU or this or that, right? So I teach people field expedient techniques where you can make all kinds of really cool stuff like suspension training, like TRXs, sandbags, all types of stuff, using an old tire, cinder blocks, all kinds of crap that you can convert into functional, usable fitness equipment that works really great.
I tell you, can I add something on that?
Yeah.
I think something that I recently found out too, and it's directly in relationship to what you're talking about, is I'll tell you a way to get more opportunities, I guess I'll call it that, than you can even imagine on that is, let's say you want some kettlebells, okay? Is simply go, if you have Facebook, go to your Facebook page and just type in there, put, hey, I'm looking for some kettlebells and I'm on a restricted budget, don't have a lot of money. If you have any, PM me on that, and you would be surprised at how quickly you get that. Also, you'll even get if you go to the Facebook, it's got a little Facebook stuff for sale. I just saw a whole thing of weights and kettlebells for sale on there last night.
Yeah, I sell stuff on there all the time.
Good.
But that's most of the prices on there are outrageous for used stuff. And of course, other than that, just going on eBay, you can look for stuff too. But the reality is the prices are ridiculous, and even when you get a cheap kettlebell, so instead of 100, you pay 50. That's still too high for a lot of people. So one of the things you need to look at is just making your own. You know, actually taking time and exerting yourself, and making your own tools so you can get super in shape. So one of the things that's really easy is you can go to your local Lowe's or Home Depot, one of those kind of stores that's got all the different stuff, home improvement kind of place, and they sell playground sand. You know those little kids' playgrounds. They fill up with sand. They get this fine particle sand, and they sell it in heavy-duty 50-pound bags, and it costs under $5. You know, you're talking like anywhere from $2 to $5. Usually it's in the 2 to 4 range, and you get a 50-pound sandbag. And so what I do is I get one of them, and I drop it in a heavy-duty trash bag, and then I duct tape it up, and now you have an indestructible 50-pound sandbag that costs you like $3.50. And right next to that, you can go over to the where they sell Quikrete, right? Quikrete bags, and they have basically like 60, 80, and 96-pound bags that you can get. So I get the 80-pound bag for like $4, and then I do the same thing, and now I have an 80-pound bag, right? All taped up, waterproof, taped up, and they're basically indestructible. So, you know, now, then people say, well, I can't lift that much. Okay, so you get the 50-pound bag, and you pour half of it into a different type of bag, right? You double bag it, and then you tape it up, and now you have a 25-pound bag. Or you could have two 25-pound bags, right?
I have another method too.
What's that, you
I whine and complain to you until you give me something.
Yeah.
Hey, it works for me.
Yeah. Whine and complain. That's always the old effective technique. But the big thing is, I just had my guy Dr. Lenny up in New York. I just had him do it, and he just made a 80-pound Quikrete bag. And as soon as he made it, we used it the next day during his online live training. And the thing is fabulous. You can imagine what an 80-pound sandbag would do to you. But you can tailor the size down to whatever you need. If you need a lighter one. So I used to make a bunch of 25-pound ones, which is more than adequate. You got to remember, everybody's afraid of weights, and you've got to actually exert yourself and use weight. You know, they call it weight for a reason, because it's heavy. The whole idea of weight, you know, this lightweight, little tiny pink dumbbell stuff, that doesn't do anything. That's just when you're pretending to work out and trying to make yourself feel good mentally. You know, you pick up your little pink dumbbells and you're like, oh, I'm doing something, but you're really not. Anything's better than nothing, but that's right up there next to nothing. So you get a 25-pound bag, a 50-pound bag, an 80-pound bag. Now you can rock and roll and do all kinds of stuff. The other thing you can do is, grab an old tire. If you have an old tire, sling a rope around it. Go get yourself a length of like a $3 length of, like a laundry line,
Cool.
You can make or some type of cheap rope. You can go in the boating sections and find some really good lengths for like ropes for tying off boats and stuff. And you can turn them into all kinds of suspension training. You can, you know, the imagination is really the limit. And then of course add in a folding metal chair. Those are classic. You can do 100,000 things with a folding metal chair alone. So, you know, fold metal chair, the playground sandbags that are already pre-done. All you gotta do is, you know, go ahead and take them up, and then, you know, get that big Quikrete bag and hook yourself up with an 80-pounder. You can get all that stuff, you know, for under 50 bucks. You can get a whole smorgasbord of fitness stuff, and it's amazing. And then, you know, if you got any kind of imagination, you can put a pipe across 2 chairs, so you can do inverted rows and all kinds of stuff. So, folding metal chair, all of these different types of things. If you have an exercise ball. So what I do is I give people ideas like that, and they create a home gym, and then I show them how to use it. Then I teach them all the exercises you can do with it, show them all the capabilities, and it's really amazing. So if that interests you, if you need help with that, you can contact me, and I'll be glad to either do it online or over the phone or in person. And I've gone to people's houses after they've created their little gyms and showed them how to optimize it, how to actually use it. Because a lot of people get home gyms. Not only do they not use them, number one, you know, like the treadmill is like a coat rack, but or a laundry room, but they wouldn't know how to use all the stuff they got anyway. They think, you know, they're very limited in the scope of knowledge when it comes to that. So home gyms, you know, you don't need to go to a gym. If you pay a membership to one of these gyms and you drive all the way from your house to a gym just to walk on a treadmill, and you think you're doing something, that's you know, that's the great deception of the century right there. In the fat burning zone on the treadmill, right? After you've had your celery stick and low fat peanut butter. Oh my Lord. So anyway, don't do it. You know, make your own stuff, work out hard at home, get your buddy, and do great things. And if you need help with that, let me know.
Sounds outstanding. UNC study, vegetable oils replaced butter, and results were not good.
Not good. Not good for the American Heart Association's recommended list of things to use instead of coconuts.
An organization that I pay close attention to.
Yeah, well, I pay close attention to the fraud, the lies, where the money comes from. You know, because they're one of the most bought and paid for organizations on the planet. I think it was like something, I forget the figure, it was either like 700 million something or 900 million something from all the big oil industries, you know, vegetable oil, canola, soy. They pay these cats to tell you that their stuff is good, and then you have, what's the opposition? Like coconuts and coconut oil, the tropical oils. They say, oh, those are saturated fats. Those will kill you. Drink our stuff instead. And of course, the reality is the stuff that they recommend is what actually kills your body. So, this new study from the University of North Carolina, they come out and they did the study over several years, and they looked at the all-cause mortality, all the deaths, all the different things that cause death for the people that were involved in this long-term study. And there was a control group, there was people who used butter, and there was people who used the recommended vegetable, canola, and soy oils. And the people who died the mostest was the people who used the recommended oils. And that's kind of crazy. That kind of backfired. If that was supposed to be a pro-vegetable oil study, that didn't work out so well. So butter, the people that were on real grass-fed butter actually did the best of everybody. And that's the saturated fat. Oh my gosh, right? So what a crock of crap that is. I don't recommend vegetable oil, safflower oil, any soy product, especially like canola oil. Most of these are hydrogenated oils or partially hydrogenated, which means they're full of trans fat, right? The actual fat that kills you. They're high in omega-6 fatty acids, which in the proper dosage, omega-6 fatty acids are very good for you, an essential part of your diet. But the big thing is we have a ratio problem that causes chronic inflammation where our omega-6 levels are too high, our omega-3 levels are too low. And that's how the industry and the marketing and the social brainwashing has transformed, you know, everybody away from saturated fat, which was actually the competition, the original competition, to this omega-6 unsaturated fats, right? And then you have what's called monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So polyunsaturated fats and omega-6s became the new, oh, this stuff is great for you, use this instead of that. The only problem is they started making it hydrogenated, they started processing it, making killer trans fats, and so now your omega-6 levels are too high, you are eating trans fat, and all the stuff that they actually told you to avoid is the actual stuff that's way better for you. Grass-fed butter is a much better option than any of that crap.
How about this, Eric? I've got a little, you know me, I love controversy and conspiracy theory, but I back mine up with fact on that. I know I've told you this before, but I'll share this on your show. Would you, because my family that are in medicine now, this was my dad, he's dead now, so we go after him. My dad was a mental health therapist, and he had a medical partner. He was the psychologist.
Yeah.
And he told me that one day that his partner told him that every year, now I don't know if they still do this, but I imagine they do, and I imagine if they say they don't, they still do, that when you go to the doctor and the doctor prescribes a particular medication to you, did you know that that is recorded by the company that sells that medication? Let's say it's AstraZeneca or Johnson & Johnson, or one of the biggies on that. And that at the end of the year, at Christmas time, that doctor gets a bonus check.
A little bonus check.
A little bonus check on how many prescriptions.
A little bonus for all your hard work. Yeah,
all your hard work. That's a fact.
But that's you know, yeah, exactly.
And hey, you gonna tell me in America that's not a motivation for some?
That's capitalism, right? That's how you make your dollars. But you know, the sad thing is, you know, the moral, ethical, Hippocratic oath, all that crap, right? Aside from that, it's all about money making.
You know, when you're over, not to digress here for a second, when you're over fighting our wars in Afghanistan and Iraq over there, you know, every time you saw one of those cruise missiles slam into somewhere, you know, those things cost like in the millions and millions and millions of dollars.
Yeah.
So, and you know, the people that make those, do you think that they're unhappy when they hear that America just launched 100 cruise missiles at Baghdad?
Yeah,
they're probably going, yes! On that.
Lockheed, General Dynamics, and all those people, Raytheon.
Hey, guess what, Lockheed, McDonnell Douglas, Lockheed, all Raytheon. Guess what? We're deciding to tone the war down. So you're only going to make, instead of $50 trillion, you know, $25 trillion. Do you think they're happy about that? Do you think they go, we're peace-loving fundamentalists?
Yeah.
You know, they sell weapons. They want them to.
They don't want. Nobody wants peace. Just like, you know, really, nobody wants cured people either.
Yes,
right?
no doubt.
Healthy people, because, you know, it's amazing in our super capitalist world that there is a way to make money at your expense for everybody, for all these industries, right? Whether it's the pills that you take, the stuff, you know, all the stuff they sell you, the creams and lotions and pills and potions and all the gadgets and gizmos, and it's all garbage, you know. Probably like 1 out of 100 things is credible, and the rest is like all crap. So the bottom line is, you go back to the roots, you go back to the basics, you eat real food, right? Good proteins, good fats, fibrous carbs from vegetables and fruit, and you stay away from all the rest of it. You get your activity in, you do some weight-bearing, resistance-based training, and you de-stress and lead a healthy lifestyle and drink your water. You'll be good to go.
Outstanding. Pat, by the way, hand me that package.
So don't forget, the grass-fed butter is a good fat source.
Okay, let's get our next thing in there. Some advocate listening to your body. Is that always a good idea?
Yeah, listen to your body, right? Listen to your body, and you know.
So I feel you just are happier now. I don't know. It's
I
like
am,
a wave of happiness.
Sometimes my hormone levels fluctuate.
I just got like an instant.
Yeah, it's like an aura.
Happiness.
I give off when certain things
It's
happen.
like I don't know what happened, but it was just weird. I just got this happiness.
It's like having a happy face emoji. You know,
Yeah, that's
you gotta
it.
put that. I gotta have the little thing pop up. If I could do that on my screen.
It's interesting like how life just all of a sudden got better.
Sometimes it gets really good, and then sometimes you're in a dark place, and all of a sudden somebody turns the light on for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, the light is shining bright.
And that light just came on. Everybody
And
else
they
going,
leave the light on for you.
and everybody out there going, what in the heck are they talking about? On that. All right, and listen, because seriously, get on this. I'm a big believer in listening to your body. So
Yeah,
let's
listening
go.
to your body. This is a kind of one of those double-edged sword kind of things where there's a time and a place to listen to your body for sure. Like if something hurts, and I'm going to say the big time to listen to your body. There's times definitely when you shouldn't listen to your body, but you got to understand what that means. And the way it works is your body is always trying to take care of you. You were created with your programming, your genetic programming, to take care of you. So your body is trying to protect you in its operating systems, and it's always trying to get homeostasis. It's always trying to achieve a steady state where it's calm, it's under control, there's no duress, there's no stress. So anytime you cause stress and your body doesn't acknowledge, hey, I'm getting ready for bikini season, or I got a reunion or a wedding to go to, your body doesn't know or care about that. All it senses, the whoopee light goes on, the big red light goes on, we have stress, and now we have to adapt and negate that stress. So that's how your body actually makes stuff happen, is in reaction to the stress. So hormones get released, all kind of stuff happens. Usually when you do it in a fitness scenario, you start eating good, you start, look at this guy. Look at this guy.
He was sad. He needed some love.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
when your body tells you stuff, you got to understand the difference between it's trying to take care of you across the board. Sometimes you need to listen to that, and sometimes you don't. So, in regards to injury, pain, if you got some kind of sharp pain and you're doing something, some type of movement, and you're feeling like, wow, this really, really hurts really bad, that's when you listen to your body and probably cease operations immediately, right?
Yeah, when you're a 55-year-old fat guy and you start getting these little pains right here, going and then you just start getting this little pain going up your arm
Yeah,
here.
if you start
Listen to that.
If you start displaying myocardial infarction syndrome, heart attack, cardiovascular disease symptoms, you want to definitely stop what you're doing and go to the
Did
doctor.
you know that if you go to the emergency room early with even mild symptoms, that you have almost a 100% chance of
Yeah.
surviving?
Yeah, obviously you want to not let any kind of injury or sickness or ailment kind of based thing go on, and you definitely don't want to just blow it off, right? So, having said that, if it's a pain or a medical related thing, do not put it off. Go see your doctor immediately. But when it comes to a, oh, I'm so full, I can't eat anything, because I just took a bite. So when you're talking about you can't eat your food, or oh, I can't work out, my body says I'm tired, that ain't gonna fly. That's when you're gonna start saying, okay, you're a little bit sore after yesterday's workout, so you're gonna take today off because you feel kind of rough. That's actually the worst thing to do. If you do get sore from working out, the best thing, the quickest way to dissipate that soreness, with what they call DOMS, the delayed onset of muscle soreness, is to actually go work out again and get the blood flowing and work the muscles. It clears out all the stuff that causes soreness, and it makes your recovery from that much, much faster.
Eric, I'm going to be honest out there because I think there's a lot of people. You're in fantastic shape. I'm not, and I'm trying to get better. But I think I'm kind of going to talk to some kindred souls out there that are like me, and that if you again you have to listen. I know you will probably you remember this when I first told you this sometime back when. And my doctor, my cardiologist, I just had a cardiac check, and he was just telling me I still got a long way to go, but he was very happy that I had lost, how much improvement and how much weight I lost. But you know what? I'm gonna tell you something, Eric. I'm looking at Shell out there because I know there's a lot of people you need this guy right here. This guy's been a big thing in my life because he's been a motivator, and he's made me want to try and do that. But I'm going to tell you something. I can remember days of going, and I know there's people out there listening to me right now, 706-940-0541 if you want to call them, or if you want to type something in. Eric, I'd go to the supermarket and fill up, a basket, and by the time, I got around and, paid for everything, later, and I'd wake up the next morning and I would be sore across here,
From pushing the
from
cart?
pushing a one time in a week of pushing a cart. And that should, that should tell you that we get, sedimentary is just not even a good enough word. Our muscles, and the other thing that surprisingly, you think that fitness gurus like this guy over here, he's not even he's an expert. This is an academician. That's one thing about Eric is Eric is not just he's not some I'm going to pump you up and that he understands nutrition, he understands physiology, and he's an academician, he's a teacher, a professor, but I think it's very important to recognize that one thing that you hear that you hear these guys and you think they're setting you up where they go like, man, listen, you will actually feel better when you exercise.
Yeah.
And you do. And I asked this guy, I said, why is that, Eric?
Well, because it affects your dopamine levels, your serotonin, your melatonin, all these other things, right? All these other hormone levels are affected by nutrition and exercise.
I know my tonins are feeling good because I feel good.
Your tonins, yeah. Your tonins be fitting to be more better.
And though, also too, and this is something huge, and I know you see this all the time. Y'all got to go to his YouTube, his Facebook page, and see these success stories that he has that are he trains people all over the world. And I want to tell you something is that, and I know that he's heard what I'm saying more than once, is that also there's, I'm a psychologist by training, and I can tell you that side of it. And let me tell you something, you will feel so much better about yourself when you're doing something. I mean, just, other than, even the most minimal thing that you're trying. And then because that minimal thing starts you to want to do better and to do more and to do more.
It's like an addiction. Once you start making progress, most people are, get really hyped up and want to do better and more. And the big thing is when you listen to your body, talking about listening to your body, when your body tells you, oh, you're full, one of the classics is, somebody, because believe it or not, you're actually supposed to be eating a certain amount of food, and it's not automatically less. In fact, for most people, in the last 10 years, when I've calculated calorie requirements for people, I have never, ever told someone to eat less and exercise more. Never, not once in the last 10 years. Really not once, ever. So that's kind of telling right there, right? The actual advice that you're going to get from everybody, right? All the supposed people that are, the go-to people, they're going to tell you to eat less and exercise more because that's all they got for you. They don't know anything about it. That doesn't, that only works in these small instances where, you're actually overeating, and what actually people are doing is they're eating too much of the wrong stuff and not enough of the right stuff. And so when they make that switch and you cut out the bad stuff and you start eating good stuff, it's really difficult because good stuff, number one, doesn't taste as good, so you don't like it. Number two, until you get over your sugar thing, your sugar addiction. Number two, it fills you up quick because there's a lot of fiber. You don't need to take all these fiber supplements and all this garbage when you actually eat real food, because real food is fiber, okay? Go eat a bunch of broccoli and celery and see how much fiber you need. In a handful of pecans and almonds and walnuts, see how much fiber you need. You don't, so all these supplements out there and all these things out there, most of them are there because the average person doesn't eat real food, doesn't eat right stuff. They eat too much of the bad stuff. So when you listen to your body, your body's like, oh man, I'm full, I can't eat that. And you've only had like one bite of chicken. Well, there's a certain number at the end of the day that you're supposed to get. And if we've talked about it numerous times on how to calculate that. It's based on your activity level. You need more calories on the days you're busy and active and sweating and exerting yourself, and then you need less calories, obviously, during your more sedentary days. And that also goes with macronutrient ratios, right? You need less carbohydrates on slow days, more fat and protein. You need just the opposite. On active days, you need more carbs, protein, and less fat. And so your body's going to tell you, though, when you're on a nutrition program, it's going to say, "Oh man, you're doing good, man. You're eating good. You feel good. You're full. You're satisfied. You don't need nothing." And so what that's doing is that's basically shutting you down from eating the right amount, meaning you should have eaten more, and it's stopping you from reaching your actual calorie count. And what that does is it prevents you from making progress. Okay, because your body acknowledges progress as change, and change is stress, and your body does not like stress. It does not like stress. So that's where plateaus come from. Nutritional plateaus, fitness plateaus. It's the, specific adaptation to impose demands on the body. So when you do stuff, your body reacts to it.
Can I ask you a question real quick?
Sure, man.
That you brought in there, okay? Because I think this is really important because I am, still very guilty about this, okay? And I think so. Would you go over again that you just can't? Because I want to do this. We all do. All of us trying to lose weight. You just can't say, "I'm going to eat 1 meal a day. I'm going to do." We do it, Aaron. Yeah. We do it.
Because when you resort to just the scale, you're just trying to make that number go down. That number can come from anywhere. Say you have a series of warehouses with all these cargo trucks, and you have to haul sand out of them. We'll say that the truck is the transporter that takes weight away from your body. So you put the sand in the truck and it drives away. In the next one, you have coal, or you have whatever, a pile of rocks. And as you take these truckloads of stuff away, the weight of the building gets lighter, right? Because you're taking stuff out of it.
Absolutely.
But you're taking totally different things out of it. So in one regard, when you do it healthy, you're taking fat, storage fat, right? Fatty acids out. And when you do it wrong, you're taking all the good stuff, the lean body mass out. And that causes, either way, whether you do it right or wrong, the scale still goes down.
And let me ask you, a lot of people, they go, they're like me, they're overweight, and they and of course this can be attributed to other things too, but we'll talk about nutrition wise. We eat this 1 meal a day, and we're like, gosh, I can't understand why I'm tired all the time.
Yeah.
And is it you're just not getting your?
Well, it's a combination. You're not getting enough vitamins and minerals and antioxidants. You're probably not hydrated. You're probably not getting enough carbohydrates, good carbohydrates, and your protein and fat intake's probably too low. So you're probably eating a bunch of garbage. And it's like if you get sluggish, number one, you're probably not eating enough or hydrating enough. Your body is slow because you're slow because you don't have the fuel in your body to run the engine.
I'm not making fun of you. I'm making fun of me, by the way. Because I'm going like, God, it's like he's describing me.
Yeah.
And it's not a good feeling.
We got to get, we need that life-size poster board with all the arrows coming off it, pointing to the different things. Say, this is Joe, example man. We'll call you, have a big E with a cape and a hood.
Really, I'm serious. It's like, because bad nutrition can get you like what? Heart disease, right?
Everything.
Oh, so I got that. Diabetes.
Yeah. Sure.
High cholesterol.
Sure.
I got that. Let's see. High blood pressure.
Absolutely.
I got that.
Yeah.
Osteoporosis.
Bone mineral density.
I got that.
Overall weakness. Can't move good. Achy. Hurts.
Intestinal issues.
Yeah. Gets all screwed up.
Okay. So other than that, lose your sight because of diabetes. Okay. You hear it. Okay. And bad teeth. All that. Okay.
The whole thing. Yeah.
Bugman, he said my penmanship is still excellent.
As long as your penmanship is good. Yeah.
Very important.
So, but, really all the stuff that's wrong with everybody comes back to you just doing everything wrong because that's how society has evolved.
I like pens, by the way. Can you tell?
Oh, my Lord. That's like the nerdiest thing I've ever seen. Like, holy crap, dude.
Oh,
Gold and silver pens. Like, is that supposed to? Did they each ink represent something different? Like this is for Monday.
Well, actually, they do. I have black ones because when I'm working the court system, you have to sign in blue.
Sign in blue.
But you write the document in black. So
Right.
And then I just have. I like cross pens, and I love to get good deals on cross pens.
So you got the deal. You got the pocket protector.
I've had that always. You didn't realize I had a pocket protector? I've always had a pocket protector. I carried long before the Revenge of the Nerds, in 1976, Eagle Scouts honor, I carried a briefcase to school every day.
A briefcase?
All 4 years of high school.
Did you used to get like beaten up as a kid?
No, you know why?
Why?
See, let me tell you something. There's fact and there's fiction. The fact is that, I got a lot of ribbing for about the first week.
Yeah.
And then when all of them realized that I was a 4.0 straight A student, and that I had these famous, what I would do, I would actually write up, this is a talk about nerdy, I would write up my own study guide for an opinion test,
Did
right?
you sell it?
And of course not.
Is that how you bought friends?
I didn't sell it. I did do this though, and I'm very serious. I'm not joking. Let's just put it, there was a version of this. It says, I may come to you, accept this as my gift. I may come to you one day and ask you for a favor, but this may never happen.
Yeah.
So
So
let me tell you, something, I had the big football, the athletic guys, somebody would mess with me and they come in and say, don't you lay your hands on him.
he's making me pass. Yeah,
That's
he's getting my passing grade. Hey, so
I wanted to
academically,
come to the football game tonight, but I couldn't get in. You're going to get on the front line.
academically, I just finished another semester.
Wait, one last thing. And the coaches even liked me because I kept their players from failing.
Right.
You're like, go, Joe.
That's like going to Kmart, the blue light special aisle, and buy a friend, right? It's like how to win friends and influence people.
I was actually like Richie Cunningham on Happy Days. I could hang out with the nerdy kids, but I could also hang out with the cool kids.
Yeah.
On that. Not because I was cool. I was just kind of like
Just
this
because
neutral.
you were accepted into the clan because you were keeping them all passing the class.
That's right. And so, and I could, just like Richie, I could look at him. I could go, Eric, I'm so disappointed in you. There you go.
So you were a tactical asset.
Thank you. That's what I thought myself.
See? So yeah, but I just finished the sports medicine course.
Didn't get a lot of girlfriends though.
That
area.
That's hard. I think the grades it's hard to push that out of it, but I'm sure there were a few out there that could have.
Well, no. Unfortunately, they knew that they had a weapon more powerful than my academics.
Yeah. They could pass on.
And they still got my academics. I just didn't get the reciprocation.
Right. They have the strategic assets.
Yes. And then some.
Yeah.
On the
sports medicine, man. I just passed that. Got an A- in sports medicine.
Woohoo!
And I got 100 on my sports nutrition course.
This guy kills me. You know what? He's a I'm so I got more school I can't say. He loves school. Don't listen to him. Because you know what? He's a teacher. He loves academics, and he is. You know what? He's like a Navy SEAL type guy, military specialist, all that special operations. But you know what? Inside, he's one of me.
So
that's right.
My average was 99.9.
Yeah, that's right. Steven Seagal, Arnold Schwarzenegger, maybe one side of you, but I'm the other side.
That's scary.
He goes, oh no.
No, it's funny because we talk about this stuff all the time, and I'm actually in college still eternally. It's like I'm signing up for another semester, and I just finished 2 classes: sports medicine, sports nutrition, very relevant.
And what's the inevitable? You're a smart guy. What is the inevitable fruition of that? Of all that, you will go from being a college student to being a college professor.
I train college.
You do that now.
I train college professors.
You teach. He's taught before. He's been a collegiate instructor already. I do that. You do that now.
Yeah, but I actually shut that down. Yeah. So that.
But I mean, you participated in research studies, and you've written, you've done all kind of stuff like that.
Yeah, but the
only guy I know that can field strip an AK-47 blindfolded and tell you how to increase your carbohydrates and overall protein intake.
Yeah, that's it. Based on the latest
at the same time, you can.
Based on the latest study, blindfolded even.
That's right.
Yeah, in the rain, dark. Yeah, wounded. with a tourniquet on.
He contained the best type of health drink and the best type of fragmentation grenade.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you want?
I know, right? Total thing. But yeah, you know that stuff is. You got to be careful when you listen to your body. Remember that when your body says no, you know you got to be relative.
Hey, is Miss Abby here today?
No.
I miss her.
Yeah, she says hi. She's had to go shopping with mom for back to school. She's still we're keeping her in her art class on the weekends so she can finish.
Yeah,
painting.
she's what I call she's like Air 2.0. She's the improved version.
The micro
He's
version.
the obsolete one.
Yeah.
She's on that.
So, but she's
amazing.
She likes equally to shoot a bow and arrow or paint a swan with a heart on it, and
she's her daddy's girl. She's
a good kid, and so she's going to be continuing art class, and she starts up next week back into 4th grade, 9 years old, and she said to say hi to everybody. She missed her last opportunity here until school starts.
What's amazing about Abby is she is, and tell me I'm not. People think I'm kidding. Abby is most like Abby will come up and give you a hug and pat you on the back and give you empathy, and then if you need to, she can tell you how to effectively complete the Rhodesian or Mozambique combat pistol drill.
Yeah. It's funny. She critiques my clients like when they're doing push-ups. She'll get down and she'll do one. She goes, "Okay, you got to touch your nose to the floor. None of this halfway stuff." And she goes, "Watch," and she'll do one.
And then right after that, she'll go, "And you're doing it very well."
She's like, "But I still love you."
That's it. It's okay.
You know, so she's a great kid.
We got great kids. We got great grandkids.
Yeah. Good kids everywhere. But that's the big thing is training college professors. Dr. Lenny,
Let's go to Dr. Lenny's story
Yeah.
and online training. Hey,
if you haven't seen
that's where we're tonight. Online training.
Yeah, online training. This is it. This is the wave of the future. This is what's going on. And Dr. Lenny is an old client. He just did a really good post on my blog where he's got 2 videos where he talks about his online experience and the history of training with me, all the way back to like 2010. And so we started here in Columbus, Fort Benning, and then we went to the Garage Gym in Salem, Alabama. He's come back and forth. He is the only one that's currently trained with me in every venue and location that I've ever operated. So he is even worked out here in the ministry building. That's how crazy it is. He has literally covered all the bases. And now I train him he is a assistant professor at Syracuse University, and he's getting ready to start up his first semester. And we train 4 times a week for 30-minute sessions.
I'm pretty proud though that I've played a significant part in your business too, because I don't know, for those of you who don't know, I play the "this could happen to you" guy.
Yeah, Joe is example man. He comes out with his mask on and his cape.
They go, "Is this what you want to turn out to be?" And they all go, "Oh God, no!"
No, this is what you don't. Yeah, this is what to avoid. Yeah. This is what to avoid.
Oh, that's what I have to get. My son's a doctor. He's 31 years old. He's he's as skinny as a rail and about 6 foot tall and in super shape. And I've got 3 grandkids from him and my daughter-in-law Lacey. And I always kid. I look at his wife, who's just a knockout looking gal, and I always say, you want to know what he's going to look like when he's 55?
Yeah. Massive genetic downhill.
Well, that's what's funny, because I had a picture of me when I was his age, and I mean, other than the height difference, we were like identical, really,
wow.
Seriously. And she goes, "Golly, like I can just see him. It's like he's like your clone." And I said, "That's right. When he's 55." And she goes, "Oh no."
Yeah. Well, that's
no. He's gonna listen to Eric the Man over here.
Yeah. But then, it's
the Rasputins.
Yeah, Rasputins, listen to you. So, the online training thing is an amazing thing nowadays, because anywhere in the world, if you get a connection, if you get cell service or Wi-Fi, I can teach, coach, and mentor you in any topic, anything you need. And Dr. Lenny trains with me, and it is, a lot of people are like, "Well, how can it be the same?" I was like, well, for my training with you, whether I'm sitting here next to you, in front of you, explaining it to you and showing you how to do it, or we're doing it over FaceTime. FaceTime is my preferred thing because it's so simple. And it's, I use FaceTime and text now. So convenient, so easy. Somebody, text me to say, hey, you got time to work out? And I'm like, yeah, 30 minutes from now. Hit me up on FaceTime, boom, and we knock it out, and the workouts are amazing. You get the same progress, you get the same nutrition coaching, you get daily access to me. It's super, super awesome, and it is definitely the wave of the future. I am heading in that direction with my business, and I'll probably try to do more online and less actual physical stuff, person-to-person stuff, just because it's more convenient. Imagine you don't even need to leave your home. You can work out right where you're sitting now.
Let me ask you, I'm going to pull one out of left field here for you.
All right.
And, all right, your mini home gym, or your area that you train and stuff like that.
Yeah.
What kind of things should you have set aside that's a good idea to have on hand for, do you have any recommendations for ice packs, sore muscles? I'm talking about things you should have.
Like first aid kind of
first
stuff?
First aid kind of stuff, yeah.
Well, obviously you want a first aid kit. Obviously if you have any kind of conditions or anything, you want to have whatever.
Are you an ice or heat guy?
Depends. The ice thing, how the old stuff was the RICE principle, rest, ice, compression, elevation. It's actually changed to price now, right? And I think they've added like protect. So protect, rest, ice, compression, elevation, something like that. They've added a P. They've turned it into price.
That shows you where we are in America today. I thought you meant like protect, like have your 9mm.
Yeah, it's like protect the injury side of it.
357 SIG near you.
Yeah.
On that.
Be ready to draw. Cover your areas of observation.
Protect while you're weak and you're healing. You need to have some kind of.
Yeah. So the ice thing is one of those things where that's a very controversial thing now, because ice too early in the process is actually detrimental because it ceases the inflammation process. So the whole thing, you want to, the big medical thing in the past was to immediately apply ice. You want to manage inflammation, not stop it, because that is part of the healing process. They've done studies where people have done the ice thing right after whatever, and some type of injury or ailment or something, and it delays the onset of your recovery. The more ice you do, the longer you do it, and you don't let the inflammation process go. What you want to do is let the inflammation process happen under it in a controlled environment. So you have to use ice. You definitely don't want to initially ever use heat, because all that does is make it feel really good, and then it cripples you. If you ever had a sore back and you put heat on it, it makes it feel so good, and then you get up and try to move, and it just it's terrible, because it saturates the area with blood. It makes everything loose, and it just, for some reason, it's really bad. I used to do it all the time because it felt so good, but ice doesn't feel that great. It numbs everything. It can be achy, but it's super, super important to get it right, because there's a time and a place for ice and heat. And
well, while we're on the factor myth, how about one of the big things is big craze I hear about all the time is swimming aquatics, and that's really good. How do you feel about that?
Oh, swimming is super good for you. Not only is it a functional survival tool, it's an awesome exercise, but the funny thing is it does, like, swimmers have lower bone density than other athletes because there's no resistance. When you don't have resisted or weight-based training, like you're not coming in contact with a weight set or the ground, and where exercise, those guys are in incredible shape, guys and gals, incredible shape. They have super, super lean bodies, muscular bodies, but their bone mineral density is usually lower, especially in the women. And so you got to do your weight training. You've got to have resistance. You've got to have weight-bearing exercise. Okay, aerobic. See, swimming is one of those examples where it's non-weight-bearing aerobic exercise. And while that's good for you, and to a certain extent, it's bad for you in others. So yeah, but swimming is awesome in conjunction with the rest of the story. Yeah.
Okay, another thing, let's get the skinny on this one. I see people, doing physical exercise, I'm not necessarily talking about runners or joggers, but people who are taking walks and stuff like that. I see people out in the early AM, and I see people out in the heat of the day, and I see people out in the afternoon. Is there a time for that or not for that, or I mean, because sometimes I see people out there, walking, and it's 100 degrees outside, and they're doing their afternoon walk. What do you think about that?
It all depends on the person. Whatever works for you. The walking versus jogging versus running versus sprinting is a very arguable list of stuff. And it's a whole cardio, like you could talk about the cardio aspect of it, for a whole episode. But the bottom line is environmentally, if you can walk in the heat and you like it and it works for you, and you're not susceptible to heat injury and or predisposed to heat injury, then rock and roll, do it whenever you want. Obviously, if you're just picking a time, willy-nilly, you don't want to pick the heat of the day. You don't want to pick when it's super cold, when it's super hot. You want to get something, most people either do their cardio like early in the morning when it's cooler or in the evenings when it's cooler, and you avoid the peak of the day. Some people do the peak of the day thing because that's when it's the hottest and they think they're going to sweat, because people still think that sweating and water loss to lose that 10 pounds on the scale is worth it, right? And that's just, people are literally insane when you watch the stuff they do for weight loss. It's crazy. Like, I'm going to go kill myself to lose 20 pounds. Brilliant plan,
I got lazy and hold the mic. Let me ask you this.
Because the mic holder is...
Yes, I do it like putting you on TV.
Yes.
Okay. A question here. Let's stay on this for just a little while on some do's and don'ts on some things. Again, hydration. How much water and how much is too much? How much is not enough?
Water is one of those things. It's basically like your body weight in ounces, and that's one method of doing it. The traditional answer is the 8 ounce glasses of water. That's probably, depending on what you're doing, a realistic number though is more like a gallon. For a roundabout, like to cover both sides of the spectrum, if you said what amount would be pretty good for everybody, around a gallon, 3/4 of a gallon to a gallon of good water every day, sipped over, we're talking over the duration of that 24-hour period, not like slamming it all at once. Too much water happens when you take your gallon jug and you kill it like in one sitting, okay? And then what you do is you then develop hyponatremia, which is where you flush out, you basically just like literally flush out with too much water through your system, all your electrolytes. And then you actually develop symptoms that are very similar to heat injuries, like heat stroke. And you have to be treated, and it can be fatal.
Let's stop there for just a second and talk about heat injuries. We still got the month of August, which is
Gonna be hot.
No matter what your health is, let's start down with, if you would, please go over the differences between heat exhaustion and heat stroke and what you should be watching out for.
Yeah, so the first thing you could have like heat cramps. You start cramping up, you feel crampy, you start, your calf muscles, or you might get a side stitch or an arm or something. You start cramping up, your foot might cramp up, your toes, fingers. As soon as if you're out doing something and you've been running around in the heat and you start feeling cramps, you need to immediately stop what you're doing. That's the beginning of the downfall, right? So dehydration plus the heat injuries start leading down that road, so it goes from like heat cramps to heat exhaustion. That's when you get clammy skin, you're really you're just exhausted, you're falling apart, you're getting delirious, you're dehydrated, you've been out in the heat, you look literally like that, like, wow, this guy's been sitting out in the sun all day, you look, just soaked with sweat, just destroyed, and then, you're lethargic and you're about to just tap out. So you need to immediately cease operations, go to shade, and take preventive action. You need to start rehydrating, getting electrolytes back in you, eat something, and slowly reconstitute yourself and get your levels back up while you rest. Heat stroke, that's when you actually started, you're so hot that now you're affecting your thermoregulation of your core temperature. Now you're actually starting to bake and boil in your own skin. and the temperature goes up so high, you know, your skin, you actually stop sweating, you look red, you're like burning up on the inside now. You've cooked the outside and now you're frying on the inside. And you know, once you get up to like 106 degrees and stuff, you're starting to die. You're gonna actually like cook your brain.
I actually had heat stroke when I was in the service, and it was that's
You ever had a heat injury too? You know they make fun of them.
Yep, and matter of fact, when I woke up,
What did you have? Heat exhaustion or
I had
heat stroke?
I was actually in an ice tub.
Yeah, so those are the kind of things, you know, that they do. You gotta have ice tubs. They have.
And I for probably, and I was in really good shape, but I never forget. I had been.
What did you do?
Well, I did a stupid thing, and I got in trouble for it. On that is that we were actually, my squad was waiting over in a training area, and our squad leader got in trouble too because he had gone off somewhere, and we had been doing fighting with pugil sticks, and so we decided we had about an extra half an hour where we were supposed to be resting. We decided to see who could be king of the pit.
Yeah,
and,
that's a good one.
And I got in there and did very well, and I went through about 6 people, and I was in very good shape. But I got all the gear off, and we had medics that would walk around with us in the company.
Yeah.
And I remember the first thing I remember is I remember going, wow, I was just sweating like I was pouring out sweat. Now I'm just dry. I feel no sweat. I started feeling very, very dizzy, very nauseous. And I remember this medic came walking up to me, and he apparently he saw the look on my face, and he said, "Hey, are you all right?" And I just remember saying something like, I didn't know who it was, and I said something like, call the medic. And he said my eyes turned back, and and I passed out.
Yeah.
Then I woke up. I got medvac actually, and matter of fact, they picked me up. I was told, I don't even remember this, and it was so bad. There was a little creek very close to where we were, and they put me in the creek.
Because you have to rapidly lower the core temperature down. So they'll do ice immersion,
and put
creeks.
and that's exactly what happened. And then I got medvaced, and I woke up. When I was cognizant, I was sitting in a big ice tub, and then I was kept overnight, and I had for about. Gosh, Eric, I think it was probably a week or 2 weeks maybe. I felt like somebody had beaten me with a baseball bat.
Yeah.
I mean, that was a weird thing. I felt like I was just aching and sore, and I just.
So to avoid that, the big thing is you got to keep electrolytes. That's where having water and like a sports drink. You want to have both.